Bombie Maniac here, and in this video we're going to talk about special damage. And Bombie is kind of a great example. We did this a little bit in the Bombie video, and so I'm just showing you Bombie's damage. We did a 20% special win set, and this is just at the end of a level 15 where you have the 4 training dummies. And you'll see that Bombie did 1.5 mil, of which I would say 30% of that was special damage. So we're back in the game here. And I did some re-rolling, and I have Bombie's special damage at 42.5. So nothing else has really changed in his builds. I'm really not worried about crit. If I can get more attack speed, I will. We might have a tiny bit more spell power than last test, but really it's about special damage. And so just to kind of go over this if you haven't watched the last video, here is Bombie. Bombie has Giant's Axe, which gives him plus 60 attack speed. He also gets plus 50 damage to enemies below 50 HP, which is good. He's wearing full wind set. So full wind set, the thing that I'm really caring about is 3 and 4. So obviously, if you have 2 pieces, you get plus 60 attack speed. If you have 3 pieces, you completely destroy your crit chances. But you get an additional 75% of final special damage, which I think is important. And then at 4, you get you lose some attack, 50% off final attack, but deals 20% of special damage to 2 targets. So if Bombie hits a group of 3 people, what's going to happen is you're going to hit, and then it'll be 3 times 2. So you're going to hit an additional 6 times, but that damage will be special damage. Those numbers will appear in white, because all special damage is white, all attack is yellow, all spell is blue, right? And crits are going to be pink. So that damage will be in white. We have this, when we look at the damage meter, it will also show all special damage in white. So I was lucky. I ended up finding a wind earring with 8%. Unfortunately, after rolling, I only got an extra 2 on this piece. We have 7% on this piece. Obviously, I could probably get higher. We have 6% on this piece. 3.5. This is probably my weakest special damage piece. And I have 8% here. So rolling these was very challenging. You never know what you're going to get. I probably spent over 1,500 corrupt stones recycling accessories to get to this point. I think that I could potentially push Bombie to 100% special damage, but what I kind of want to do with this video is we have our numbers, our 1.5 million numbers from before. Before, our special damage was 22%, and now we are 42%. So we increased special by 20%. Let's look at what the DPS difference is and find out, basically come to understand what does an additional 20% of special damage look like on Bombie in real numbers, and is it worth rolling over and over again to get Bombie to 100% special damage? And if he is, how does he compare to putting that same build on maybe Ceres? So that's kind of what we're doing today. So I only have 22 supply, so we're going to be doing a lot of normals today. We're going to be going into normal elf invasion. For the sake of speed, I'm going to pause the video until I'm on round 10, but I'm going to be building Bombie Gang. All right, so I'll see you at round 10. All right, we are at round 10. I am rolling for book. Not the right book, but it's okay. We have 2 lilies and we have some bombies, so not too bad. And let's start looking at damage. So, big group of enemies. You're going to see that Bombie is actually doing really well. We have 71,000 damage, of which about 30% of that's special damage. So, pretty happy with that. A blue book is perfect. We do have a gold Bombie now. We will... I'm going to have to keep this over here. I'm trying to get my spell damage stacking really high on my lilies. So our Bombie gang's doing pretty good. All these white numbers that you're seeing, that's all special damage. And what you're going to notice is that there's a lot of little white numbers. Like, there's more little white numbers than there are the other ones because it's ×2 per unit hit. So that's a kind of important thing to think about. If there's other things that can trigger on hit, that would be good. So let's just watch that. You see how all these little tiny white numbers, the white numbers are around 800 damage, you know, so that's kind of what we're seeing. From a damage perspective, you know, some of the Bombies, like this is my tier, like a tier 5 or 4 Bombie. Tier 4? Tier 4 Bombie. Ultimately, special damage accounted for more than the special damage ratio for my larger Bombie, right? And it comes down to how many units were hit. So it's definitely based on group, and that's gonna really matter. So I'm gonna just try to keep getting I want to get a team of 5 Bombies as big as I can. So it's gonna require us to keep doing some econ. Okay, perfect. So one more Bombie will have a tier 6. So let's keep rolling. Watch the damage. I mean, Bombie's doing 150k. They're both doing 150k. It's pretty good. I mean, I know if you throw a Saras out here, it might be better. We'll find out. We're gonna put the exact same set on a Saras gang and see what happens. So, doing good. Now if you notice is that when there's more units on the field, that's really... I want another book. Blue book would be good. I'll take that. I'm intentionally not doing mono. I don't think I did mono on my other test, so I'm really not gonna do that to myself. Oh, I can't sell equipment. What am I doing? Lots of little white numbers, like definitely significant amount of white numbers. We really just want to get the test training dummy. That's what we want. And I need another Bombie for sure. Pop this. No Bombie. All right. We now have our... fifth Bombie. So we completed gang at this point. And now we're just going to maximize gang. I'm going to give this guy a bit more. And all the heals. Sure. All right, let's keep going. So we're doing pretty good damage here. These guys are now mythic level, So they're going to have a lot more HP. And we're going to run it again. Yeah, it's doing exactly what we want it to do. So, obviously, when we do boss, boss is kind of be when we're at weakest because we're only going to have one unit. But we have $100 to spend, so let's make. Can we get Red Book? Not today. All right, pausing for econ. All right, we got pretty respectable gang. We have a tier 6, a tier 4, and a couple smaller bombies. So let's just decimate our boss. As you can see, special damage numbers are really not, they don't exist. So this is not great for boss. Okay, so the last number was 1.5 on my tier 6 Bombie. Let's see what the numbers are here. And I wish I could get more stuff on him. I am going to just try to go for the biggest number I can. For team DPS, so let's give it a shot. I mean, I did this last time, so all right, there we go. It's a bit more respectable. If I could get, I can't sell, so we're just gonna have to roll. All right. So special damage is accounting for 50%, almost 60%. Oh, only 1.2 mil. That's crazy. I did a test earlier, and I was able to get close to 2 million damage. But you could see special is really, really high. So before the build was 20% special. I think that the TLDR on special damage is it's chaotic. And so it's definitely a strange kind of damage. And I wish I could redo this because the number that I got off camera was 1.9 mil. It's very, very different. Maybe a mono was involved. Let's pause and look. So it does look like I had a mono on him. But it didn't really affect special damage all that much. So definitely kind of crazy. I'm gonna pause, replay normal, and then I'll unpause once we get to dummies again. And let's try this one more time with a mono. All right, so we have made our way back to the training dummies. And we have sort of a similar setup. Most importantly, we do have a tier 3 mono on a tier 6 Bombie. We have about the same amount of attack on the equipment here. So really what I care about at this point is we want to compare that special damage. So let's give it a shot. Mono is kind of a game changer. Okay, so mono always on Bombie. So there is that. So we broke 2 million. So that basically means that the additional 20% to special damage came out to 500,000 more overall damage. It has to be special. Nothing else changed outside of that. So if we look at that number, that additional 500,000. So we had 1.5 with 20%. An additional 500,000 with the new special damage. So hypothetically, for every 10% of special damage, we're going to increase our 15-second to 3 units. 3 units. Remember, he's hitting 3. We're going to increase our special damage by a good amount. I mean, our actual damage by a good amount. So, hypothetically, every 10% leads to this, divided by 15 seconds. So, every 10% of additional special damage will result in a further DPS of 16,000 damage per second to a group, on average. To a group. So, hypothetically, if we were able to get his special damage from 40 to 100%, that would be another 1.5 mil. Right? So, we broke 2 million. I think it was 2.1 plus 1.5. So he would be at 3 mil 600,000. Divide that by our 15 seconds. So the best that we can get Bombie is at 240,000 damage per second to a group. I think that's endgame worthy. If I had a Bombie putting out 240,000 damage in strife per second, I think that's a worthwhile investment. That's a worthwhile investment. Now, getting special damage to 100% is going to require a lot of dedication. So if you want Bombie to be your man, like, you got to put in the time to get there, right? So this is the long version of the video. I'm going to shoot a shorter version of this video, which will kind of get to the point a little bit faster. But special damage is pretty solid, man. It's pretty solid with when set. I'm going to push him to 70. I think I can get to 70% special, if I really work at it. And I'm going to see how far I can get him. I probably won't do another dedicated Bombie video. It'll probably just be a short if I can get it higher. But, yeah, so I think based on everything that I've seen, special damage is definitely what you want. Now, I said earlier that I was going to try to do the same thing on Ceres. So, in theory, full win set on Ceres. I might do that in a separate video. We'll do special damage Ceres in a different video. I kind of want to keep focusing on the Bombie for now, but we will. We'll definitely do it. I think it might be worth a shot because Ceres kind of guarantee hits 3 people, right? So like Bombie is going to throw a bomb in a 9 grid or a 3x3 grid, and maybe there's people there, right? Whereas Ceres will make 3 clones and will consistently hit 3 units at the same time. And so Ceres is going to be a more consistent damager for 3. Now, however, if Bombie hits a group of enemies, let's say there's 9 units clustered together, Bombie's damage potential technically is higher than Ceres's damage potential. He just doesn't have dodge utility, and I think Bombie's damage is just overall lower than Ceres. Let's go look at a Ceres at 16. Yeah, so Ceres just this number. This number is the difference, right? We're at 16. My Bombie's at 18. So Ceres at 18 probably has another. She's probably about 160. So at the end of the day, the limitation is you have to hit at least 5 units to equal the same amount of DPS output that Ceres is doing at 3 units. So, You know, it's just that kind of situation. Now, if you're playing Strife, there's a ton of units of Strife. So I almost feel like Bombie is best for Strife and maybe not best for Invasion with this build, because it's unit city. I mean, people are sending all kinds of crap at you in Strife, especially past round 12. So Bombie might out-damage Saris in Strife with special damage, I believe. So we're not counting the multipliers. We're not counting anything else that he does, you know, because there are multipliers. Saris is scaled on Saris scales his damage on spell power, so he has a built-in multiplier that can go higher than a fixed 300% every 10 throws. So Saris has way more damage potential. But all right, guys, that's going to be it for this Bombie video part 2. Thought I'd share with you what special damage actually does. So, 500,000 additional spell damage is pretty damn good. All right, guys, talk to you later.